What's going on, everyone? It's Tay, aka Slay, and I have a story time for you today. This and a lot of my coming story times are going to be about my former life in New York City. This is the one that actually came to the forefront of my mind today, so I'm going to share it with you. Now, I had two boyfriends in the entire 12 years that I lived in New York City. The one that was the most formative for me, that actually taught me the most about myself, was the one with my now friend whose wedding that I'm in next year. We were together off and on for 4 years, and we ultimately ended the relationship in September of 2013. So between September of 2013 and my 33rd birthday, which was April 2nd, 2015, I said, okay, I'm going to completely focus on myself. I'm going to be this example of a happy, successful, single, 30-something-year-old Black woman. And then after my 33rd birthday, I was like, all right, universe, let's do this. Send me whoever is meant for me. Universe decided to take a nap because there was nobody. Literally between the time I ended my relationship until I met my next partner, there were no dates to be had. And it could have been just because I did not want to engage in modern dating. I still to this day do not want to use dating apps. I do not want to use dating websites because I don't want to pay to find love. No shade to those who do, but it just isn't what I want for me. I would rather be out in the world when we're allowed to, living my best life, doing the things that bring me joy, and finding my partner that way. Call me old-fashioned. That's how I want to do it. And I was getting very discouraged because nothing was happening. And I just forgot about it. I was like, you know what? Forget it. It's just, it is what it is. So during one day at work, I get an email that one of my favorite people on the job is quitting. They had put in their 2-week notice. And it's weird because at my former job, it was like, if you put in your 2 weeks, you weren't allowed to tell anybody. I can't tell you how many people left the job and they were like, hey, today's my last day. And I didn't, that was how I knew that they had quit. It's like, oh, you couldn't tell me? Like my former boss told me, but I wasn't allowed to tell anybody else. I guess because they were afraid people would get inspired to leave as well. I don't know. But that's how it was with this chick. She said, hey, today's my last day. I've enjoyed working with you all. Meet us at this bar at this time for goodbye drinks. So I went, knowing how expensive those drinks were. But I went to the bar, not really expecting anything, just wanted to say goodbye to this chick because she was one of my favorites. And her fiance was with her, and a colleague from her fiance's law firm, he was a lawyer, was next to him, and he had his arm in a sling. Now, I'm a very outgoing person. I'm not going to ignore somebody that I don't know, especially when they're connected to somebody I do know, like my coworker. And I said, hey, what happened to your arm? And without skipping a beat, he was like, oh, I heard it in BJJ training. I was like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? You train in MMA? And he was like, yeah, I've been doing it for a few years. Now, hindsight, I don't know if he was just yanking my chain or if he was for real training, because I had taken MMA fight training classes. I think I had stopped before this night, but I had for a good amount of time. I love that kind of stuff. I used to watch UFC religiously. But, so that fascinated me because I was like, okay, something that I love, and this dude who is actually very attractive does that too. All right, let me learn more about this. And I made it a point to be like, all right, do not throw yourself at this man, even though it's been a long time since you have had a productive conversation with a member of the opposite sex that had nothing to do with work. So just stay level-headed, stay in the moment, we gonna be good. But also don't be afraid to be yourself and let this person know how you're feeling. So that's what I did. It gets to the point where he and I are only speaking to each other. And there's so much going on around us as the bar fills up. Like more people from work come in, more people that they know in their own social circle come in, and like he'll step away and then come right back to me. And I'm just like, this is so awesome. Okay, just one step at a time, one step at a time. So we make the transition from the front of the bar by the doors where we're greeting people who are coming in to the bar itself. And he's buying me drinks throughout the night. And I'm just like, whew. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little giddy. It's been a while since an attractive man has bought me drinks in a bar. And yes, I did have that thought of, okay, I'm wondering if he wants anything. What's happening? But it's fine. So we get to talking about our jobs. We talk about family for a split second. We talk about dating and our follies within. And it gets to the conversation about like our hobbies and how that plays into dating. And it's like, listen, I am who I am, and whoever I end up with is going to have to vibe with that. Meaning, if you say you like red and only the color red, you're not interested in any variations of red. Purple is just not it for you, boo. You're not even trying to deal with any greens, yellows, oranges. You're just like, no, it's red and that's it. I can't do that. Even though red's my favorite color, I'm like, I'm still open to the entire rainbow. What are you doing? Variety be the spice of life. And it gets to talking about cosplay. I'm like, hey, I'm a huge geek. I love reading comic books. I'm not a huge gamer, but I have games that I do like to play. I collect, Funko Pops. I collect figurines, and I have them on display now in my room, but at the time it was my apartment, and I should not be made to feel ashamed for those things. I'm a cosplayer. I go to conventions. In full costume. I do not want to be with somebody who feels that they have to put me down for that. And there's no point in being in a relationship with somebody who's going to make you feel bad about the things that you love. Really wish more people understood that. But, and he made the comment of, yeah, I have figurines in my house, and if somebody walked into my house and said, what the hell is that? This is wrong. What are you doing? I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to have to cut that person off because they're obviously not the one. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. This dude gets it. This is going to be so awesome. Okay. One foot in front of the other, Tay. It's my internal monologue. So throughout the night, he keeps basically refilling my cup. I want to say by the end of the night, he bought me 3 drinks in total. Might have been 4, because I think my colleague's fiance bought me my first drink, and he just kept refilling it. So by the end of the night, he turns to me and says, listen, it's time for me to go. I have a Shiba Inu at home, and she's probably losing her mind because I'm home. I'm not home right now. I'm late. So I was like, okay, all right. So we see where everybody we know is congregating. They're all drinking. They're all having a good time. And I was like, okay, let's go say bye. And he's hugging everybody. He's kissing everybody on the cheek, doing the very European mwah, mwah thing. And he comes to say goodbye to me. Now, this was around the first Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight, and everybody was hyped about it. So apparently my coworker and my former job was really high school. There were a bunch of cliques, like you knew who was friends with who and who was cool with who. Very juvenile. But this group that we were in, they were all going to watch the fight at this person's house. So he's saying goodbye to everybody, saying, see you on Saturday, see you on Saturday. And then he gets to me and he says, I'm sure I'll see you on Saturday. And I said, well, I wasn't invited, because I wasn't. Like, I was left out of a lot. I was actually really surprised that I was there that night. Actually really surprised that somebody had invited me to the going away drinks. But, after he said that, I was like, well, I wasn't invited, but if I am, I will definitely be there because I would like to see you again. This guy loses all of the color in his face. His eyes get about this big. He literally looks at me and goes, and runs out the door. I was like, I'm standing there stunned. Like, all I said was, I would like to see you again. I didn't say that I wanted you to get up in these guts. Like, I wasn't too forward. What happened? And I'm just trying to go over the last 10 seconds. Like, what did I say? What did I do? I'm just mind blown. And then to make matters worse, my office crush at the time, and I will get into him in another video, walks in with his girlfriend. And I'm just like, this is a horrible night. I literally go to say goodbye to my, at this point, former colleague. I give her a hug and I'm like, I'm really gonna miss seeing you around. I grab my coat and my purse and I leave. I don't make any stops. I head right to the subway. I don't call anybody. I barely check my phone. I get home and I didn't cry myself to sleep that night, but damn near. Like, I was so devastated. I was like, what did I do? Like, this guy didn't ask for my number. He didn't. How do you talk to me the entire night? Spend your money, like these expensive ass New York City bar cocktails. You bought me 3 of them that night. You talked to me for what had to be close to 2 hours. And then at the end of the night, you just, oh my God. And at that point I was like, I don't think it's worth it to date here anymore. I don't want to, And the funny thing about that was, I think it was the November before this, where I had tried dating apps for a month and I was just, it did nothing but give me anxiety. So after that, I was like, and I talked to a few people and they were like, oh, well, why don't you try to find his email through, you know, those of us who know him. I'm like, I'm not chasing anybody. If I truly believe that if he wanted to see with me, even if he just wanted to sleep with me, he would have made some kind of move. He would have done something. He would have asked for my number. He would have found some way to contact me. I'm not chasing anybody. So yeah, that was the end of that. I was like, I'm not dating. That happened in May of 2016. And by October, my now ex-boyfriend had come back into my life. And that will be another story for another time. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of those good things. I know there are a million videos you could have watched today. I humbly thank you for coming to slay.